Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. It was just another sunny day in Los Angeles and everything seemed perfectly normal in the Cliff House that Steffi and Finn called home. Kelly had been laughing in the backyard that morning, playing with her toys, with her face lit up by the kind of pure childhood joy that made Finn's heart swell. However, by the afternoon, that joy had given way to anxiety. She was burning up with a fever. Her breathing had become labored, and her normally energetic frame seemed fragile and limp in Finn's arms. As he rushed her to the hospital, Steffi, visibly shaken and on the brink of hysteria, held on to Kelly's tiny hand and kept whispering words of comfort, while Finn, though internally panicking, kept a composed exterior, reassuring them. Both the symptoms weren't making sense. There was no cough, no stomach issues, no rash, just a fever, dizziness, and sudden fatigue. Finn ordered a battery of tests, immediately relying on his years of medical training to solve the mystery behind Kelly's condition. The situation demanded clarity, but instead it opened a Pandora's box of secrets that had been buried for years, secrets that even Steffi had hoped would remain hidden forever. As the results came back, Finn furrowed his brows at Kelly's blood panel. Something wasn't right. Kelly's supposed father, Liam Spencer, had a well-documented genetic profile that had been noted in her original pediatric history, so he reviewed the genetic markers and compared them to what he had on file, but something didn't align. A key genetic marker was missing, one that should have been inherited from Liam, but wasn't present at all. Finn initially believed there had been a mix-up in the lab. That would have been the most logical explanation, but Finn, meticulous and deeply protective of his stepdaughter, ordered a retest, then a third. Each time, the results were the same. The DNA didn't match. Kelly couldn't be Liam's biological daughter. The shock hit Finn like a wave crashing onto jagged rocks. It was more than just science. It was the implication, the years of tension, of awkward paternity discussions that had once been buried during the early stages of Kelly's life came flooding back. Steffi, had he lied to everyone? Had she always believed that Liam was the father, or was she aware of the truth but kept it to herself and no one else? Steffi stood frozen in the hospital hallway as Finn approached her. With a pale face and a trembling chart in hand, he said quietly, glancing down at Kelly's room and saying, "We need to talk. It's about her paternity and her genetics." Steffi's face lost its color. Right away, she tried to form a sentence, but only a broken "What do you mean?" escaped her lips. The chart was placed on the table after Finn shut the door to the on-call room, which was empty. Liam's genetic markers do not match Kelly's blood work, not just once, several. I checked 3 times. Steffi, Kelly can't be his daughter biologically. It's impossible. Steffi stumbled backward and grabbed the edge of the counter for support as she remembered a single hazy night that she had buried in her conscience, a night in which someone other than Liam was involved, someone who had disappeared from her life as quickly as he had entered it. Could it be? Could she have been wrong all these years? I need a minute, she stammered, pacing the room, her thoughts spiraling. She remembered the times she and Bill Spencer, Liam's own father, had a brief, reckless moment together during one of her and Liam's many turbulent breakups. She had always assumed the timing didn't line up, that Liam was the father, that it was confirmed by the paternity test. But had she been mistaken? Had the results been altered? Could the original test have been tampered with, or was it never done correctly in the first place? She whispered, her voice cracking. It was supposed to be Liam. I assumed it was Liam. Astonished, Finn's face went blank. Are you saying you don't know who her real father is? Steffi didn't answer her. Silence was answer enough. Finn felt like the floor had dropped beneath him. The trust, the family dynamic, the love they had built it was all hanging by a thread. He wanted to be angry, but he couldn't be. Not yet, not when Kelly was still lying in a hospital bed. Look, I don't care about the past right now, he said finally, his voice firm. I care about Kelly's future, her health. If we don't know her father's identity, we don't know her full medical history. That could be the key to figuring out what's making her sick. Steffi, you need to tell me everything, even if it hurts. Tears welled in Steffi's eyes. I think it could be Bill, she whispered. There was one night, a stupid, painful mistake. I was weak because Liam and I had broken up. He was there. I never told anyone. I buried it. I wanted to forget it ever happened. Finn's jaw clenched. This wasn't just a secret. It was a betrayal that could shake the foundation of everything, not just between Steffi and Liam, but within the entire Forrester-Spencer dynamic. If Bill Spencer was Kelly's biological father, the ramifications would be explosive. Nevertheless, Finn was aware of the necessity. We'll need to test Bill discreetly if possible, but we need to know for sure. Steffi nodded, her hands trembling as she reached for her phone. She didn't know how she'd even begin that conversation. Hey, I think you might be my daughter's real father. Wasn't exactly an easy icebreaker, but she owed it to Kelly. She owed it to herself, and as much as she wanted to avoid the inevitable fallout, the truth had to come out, not just for medical reasons, but for the emotional stability of the little girl who trusted them all. Word spread quickly within the hospital staff, and soon Ridge caught wind of the situation. The moment he arrived and saw the look on Finn and Steffi's faces, he knew something was terribly wrong. After hearing the revelation, Ridge was furious, not just at Steffi, but at the tangled web of past betrayals that had once again come back to haunt their family. Meanwhile, Liam, completely unaware of the storm brewing, arrived at the hospital with a concerned look on his face, demanding to know what was going on. The moment Steffi saw him, guilt surged through her like lightning. We need to talk, she said, her voice nearly breaking. It's about Kelly, and it's going to change everything. Liam listened quietly, his face going pale as she revealed the truth, or what little of it she knew. The rage that followed was thunderous. You lied to me for years, he hissed. I raised her, loved her, thought she was mine, and you didn't even know. Steffi tried to explain, but her words fell flat under the weight of Liam's devastation. He stormed out, leaving Steffi shattered and unsure whether he would ever forgive her. And then came the next chapter, Bill Spencer's DNA test. When the results confirmed what they feared, that he was in fact Kelly's biological father, everything exploded. Brooke, furious on behalf of her daughter, Hope, couldn't believe the ripple effect this would have on her family. Hope, heartbroken that Liam was unraveling from the shock, didn't know whether to support him or confront Steffi for the years of deception. In addition, Bill, who had never been told he had a second daughter, was taken aback by the discovery, which he made while he was surprisingly emotional. Bill was speechless for the first time in his life. Finn remained the solid foundation. As the family fractured around them, he focused on Kelly, whose condition had finally stabilized thanks to the medical insight provided by the corrected genetic history. He stayed by her side every night, brushing her hair back and whispering that everything would be okay. But he knew the truth: things would never be the same, not for Steffi, not for Liam, not for Bill, and especially not for Kelly, whose identity had just shifted in the most profound way. The only question now is how many more secrets were waiting to be uncovered. The fallout from the revelation spread like wildfire through Los Angeles, the once tightly held illusion of a stable family life for Kelly shattered into a million pieces, and the consequences rippled across every branch of the Forrester, Logan, and Spencer families. Despite his calm and composed exterior, Finn was inwardly grappling with conflicting emotions. The medical professional in him had done his duty, by uncovering the truth, but the man, the husband, the stepfather, felt as though he had opened a wound that could never fully heal. Finn loved Kelly as his own, and nothing could ever change that, but now he had to step into an even more complex role, one that required not only being a father figure, but also a guardian of secrets, of trauma, and of redemption. In the days following the revelation, Kelly slowly began to recover physically, but the tension in the household was suffocating. Stuffy couldn't sleep. She paced the floors at night, haunted by guilt and fear of what would come next. She replayed every memory of the days surrounding Kelly's conception, the timelines, the emotions, the manipulations, and the lies. How had she convinced herself for so long that Liam was the father, or was it simply that she had wanted him to be in the complicated chaos that was her love triangle with Liam and Bill? Had she blinded herself to the truth because facing it meant unraveling everything she built? In the meantime, Liam spiraled. The man who had once been at the center of so many women's lives now found himself adrift, questioning his very identity as a father. He had dedicated years to Kelly, held her hand through her first steps, changed her diapers, kissed her bruises, and told her bedtime stories. And now he was told she wasn't his. It didn't feel real. He didn't want to believe it. In his heart, Kelly would always be his little girl, but in his mind, the betrayal echoed louder than any paternal instinct. Every interaction with Stuffy was laced with cold bitterness. He had once forgiven her for sleeping with his father, but this was different. This was a lie that shaped years of his life, a lie that reshaped the trajectory of his marriage to Hope and his